one of the life lessons. Then Taporia, you said, yeah, you saw the whole Taporia thing. All right, got YouTube on. I'll do the Twitter post after I finish my spiel. All right, this is the SBC podcast, where every single podcast is a business meeting with a specific purpose and a specific outcome. I have an MBA securities license, clients net worth $50 million and above. And what that means to you, because who cares, right? What that means to you is that we use value investing, and we'll get into the 2 or 3 concepts we use in order to use business and financial concepts to consistently, every single time, to the point I'm taking for granted James's picks that he's gonna be profit. I wasn't even worried about it for Freedom 250 as things came down the pike. And I'm learning a little bit from James of being a little bit prophetic, right, about Taporia. But we'll get into that. But James is right now, he's 54 out of 57 weeks of profit. What that means is he's compounding money in your favor. It's better than the ATM, because an ATM, you put money in and you're getting your own money out. James is giving you information to consistently make money for money you do not have. Because life is short. The only thing you don't get back in life is time. So we do 2 things, right? We consistently monetize that time, and we get a massive amount of entertainment. And because of the heightened awareness, the fact that we have money on the line, the fact that we have wives and girlfriends who want Louis Vuitton purses, right? We have to consistently make money to maintain our relationships with the excessive amounts of sports and fights that we watch, right? So, to that end, that heightened awareness gives you uh, deeper understanding into the world around you, a deeper understanding, better analysis than people. We don't have any relationships with people. We don't have to kiss anybody's ass. So what we can do, we can keep it real. All right. So keeping it real and watching so many fights for so many years, we give you insight and information you do not get anywhere else. Thank you, James. And thank you for being so consistent and on point. That leaves us more time, right? More space in our brains to enjoy the fights and entertainment, and making money at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. We had a great week last week at the White House. We can just kind of walk through that real quick. We had a pretty simple formula that actually worked out really well. Pretty much what we did for every fight. It was a pretty interestingly stacked card and based on like opponent's skill level. So we pretty much just took the favorite to win by knockout under 10 minutes or in the first 2 rounds. And that happened for every single fight. So we were actually printing money like an ATM. Um,
Yeah, no, I was sitting there on my couch streaming it, and then looking at my phone making profit. I'm like, man, only in America you can do this. you know, only in America can you have this much fun watching fights and making money at the same time. However, as I was watching it, there were so many, because what we do on the podcast as well is we use the fact that we have the heightened awareness, the fact that we're putting significant amounts of money on each fight, on each game. You also have to learn, because in life, you always have to keep learning, because life always keeps teaching and things change. So you don't want to be like that with a cat lady, right? You don't want to be cat lady or cat man, right? This is not a political podcast. Uh, who live alone, we all know, they've lived alone a long time and they're kind of off, right? because they're not taking in information. And we have to be pragmatic in order to be as consistent, compounding interest, positive interest, like James does. So I'm going to go get James' reaction on three things. Uh, Not only were they like life lessons, man, fighting lessons. One is we've been talking about it a lot that Dana White, right? Like when I watched The Voice with my wife, and the other people on The Voice become superstars because they only care about that night's entertainment, not the long term value or the long term success of the fighter, right? Something that some people did not keep in mind. So, first reaction is, uh, and I kind of know the story, but it's money, right? What were your feelings that there were no women on the fight? It was seven. I didn't even miss it. I didn't know until afterwards. But from a business standpoint, women have a lot of money, right? Uh, and diverse companies make more money. What were your thoughts on the fact, from an entertainment standpoint, from a sports betting standpoint, that there were no women on the Freedom 250 card?
Yeah, that was really interesting. It was really structured in a way where it really did seem like they were trying to engineer those knockout finishes. And
Right,
unfortunately, there's just not the same percentage of knockouts and finishes like that in women's MMA. I mean, not since Nunes, maybe if Nunes comes back, but we really just don't see that same level of explosiveness quite yet. So I think that's the main thing there because it really felt like fight, knockout, fight, knockout, fight, knockout. It was incredible flow, not really any wrestling, like too much wrestling or even jujitsu between the men either. So it was really just stand and bang action the whole night. And it really seemed like that's what they were going for. They wanted, like you were saying, just that one single night to be as
right,
electrifying as possible.
right. They wanted to be entertaining because it was iconic. Uh, the president was there. So to that end, uh, in business, always have to focus on details, and you always have to do a lot of research. And something we noticed that we talked about on the last podcast, which is prophetic, we'll get it out. We're gonna get a lot of videos out this weekend, long form article, was the fact that Taporia is a very detailed guy, and everything has to be perfect. And we've all seen him. I saw him in high school, upper level high school, especially in track. They have to have their shoes tightened a certain way, and this was, it is, even Dana White admitted it. Dana White paid it out of his own pocket, right? So we do our research to make money. So Dana White's business partner is a guy by the name of Ron Emanuel. And his brother was the chief of staff for Barack Obama. He's basically Dana White's technically his boss now because he's the CEO of the WWE and he's funding the fights. So this is Dana White's business partner. Okay. So back to Taporia. Uh, well, I want to know your reaction and let me know, why didn't he not get out of the way of the jab? Should the fight have been stopped in the second round? And do you think him and his corner adequately prepared for what we told people on the last podcast? Literally, his team needed to listen to our podcast. I'll send it to him about the heat, the humidity, right? Late at night, because you have to be ready to hydrate yourself. You better be in shape because it's really weird conditioning. Uh, Gagey, being from the Central Valley, right? So Fresno might have helped him because he's used to the heat in the Central Valley. Wrestler guy, right? In shape, college athlete. Why didn't he get out of the jab? Was he adequately prepared? And uh, those who hesitate, right, James, especially for you young guys, this is a crude term we used to say when I was young, but it's true. those who hesitate masturbate, right? You were watching this at a bar. Right. So when a hot girl gives you that look at the bar, you have to go, right? Girl walks by you, she looks back. That's a go sign. You hesitate, you masturbate. So in that second round, should the ref stop the fight? And knowing that it's hot and humid, should the Taporia gone crazy, it's gone nuts, not try to leave anything in the punt and finish it right there because Gaethje was hurt, Gaethje was out. Gaethje, the ref should have stopped it. So if the ref's not, I think, let me know if I saw this correctly because you've probably seen it a couple of times. I thought Taporia thought that the ref was going to stop it. He didn't engage. So that was a mistake. Right? It says in the Bible, cursed is the man who depends on another man. Don't depend on the rest to stop it. You get in there. If the rest in the way, hit him. But you make sure the gauge is out. And that's it. Because you never know if you're going to get that opportunity again. And I don't think he did. And he thought he was because he knocked them down with body blows. So what is your reaction to all that, James?
Yep, definitely. I got like a two-part answer for that. First, yeah, I think one of the biggest issues there was just Ilya's kind of persona. He has that very confident aura. He is always talking like I'm going to win in the first round by knockout. He has his record in his bio. He updates it before the fight starts. He really has kind of like that chasing after that like McGregor mentality. And I think that really came back to bite him here because according to MMA math, he should have
Right.
easily been able to dispatch Gaethje. I mean, his most recent two opponents, Charles Oliveira, he knocked out, and Max Holloway, he knocked out, who both have finished Justin Gaethje in the past before themselves. So with that being said, he probably walked in there thinking it was going to be a cakewalk. He thought they were building the event around him, the White House card around him, instead of around Gaethje. And so I think that huge bit of overconfidence, especially in the second round, like you mentioned, because he hurt him really badly to the body. But instead of continuing to follow up to the body or even go to the head, he
Right.
started going for those submissions. And yeah, he had Justin some very dangerous spots, but I think he would have had a much easier time just going for some ground and pound. Like he was in mount for a while without really doing much, really chasing those submissions, which allowed Gaethje to survive and eventually build up momentum and win the fight for himself.
Right.
And that also being said, I've been traveling a lot this week, and I was actually just got back from Kansas City from the World Cup, and the
Nice.
humidity is no joke. When I was planning out, when I was like taking all my notes,
Right.
thinking about things, I factored in a little bit, but I really didn't factor it in too much. I was like, oh, it's just humidity. It's just a change in heat temperature. But no, that humidity is something else. Me suffering, and I wasn't even competing in anything.
Right. Right. Much less somebody punching you in the face. Right. And man, you make a great point about him trying to submit him when you're talking about a guy who is a college wrestler. So you get again another life lesson, uh, especially in a competitive situation, in a weird situation. Focus on your strengths. Do your research. Know that the other man has. He's a professional, really, right in college of wrestling. So submitting him, he knows every trick in the book, even though he's out, to get out of that, which he did, right? And then the last thing, cliches exist for a reason. And when you're talking about business, I remember when I had my restaurant, this guy used to come in, and he had a Confederate flag belt buckle and a Confederate flag cowboy hat. I didn't even know they existed. And other employees in the restaurant say, "Oh, this is a Cuban restaurant. Throw this guy out." And I'm like, you know what? His money's green, right? And at the end of the day, he ended up being the nicest guy in the world, the most non-racist guy in the world. Everybody was judging him by his color. And he ended up being a guy who was independently wealthy at 42 years old. And you're not supposed to give people unsolicited advice. He used to give me unsolicited advice in well all the time. Two main things he told me was like, Josh, goals are for pussies. It's what is it you're going to do? Fuck goals. If you talk to me about your goals, I don't want to hear. What is it that you are going to do? And I remember one time, this jerk came into the restaurant, and I had really good regulars. And then cops, this guy was acting up at the restaurant, and the regulars kicked him out like monsters. I didn't even say anything. But he comes up to me and says, Josh, you got to tell these people to relax when there's jerks in the restaurant because assholes buy cars too, right? So the way he got rich was he owned car dealerships himself. He built it up himself. So he started with 5 cars and built it up to a major dealership. They had 5 dealerships. Let me put it with the guy. He was telling me about the car industry. He said, Josh, assholes buy cars too. And I know what he meant was that you never talk about religion or politics in public. In business, in your personal life are 2 very distinct things. So what that guy said at the end about Michelle Obama is something you say high and drunk with your buddies, right? Talking shit. You do not say that in public because this is a business. And then do your research. The boss, the guy who runs things, his main business partner, where there's $1 billion involved, right, is the chief of staff for Obama. It's another lesson. It's a tiny world, right? So that engaging right after fight said, oh, I'm not giving to Florio fight. Really did. Dana White makes that decision. Shut up, right? And then Dana White slapped him with some medical. What are your thoughts on that? What's your reaction to that? Am I off? Am I delusional? Or what I said didn't make any sense at all?
No, that totally makes sense. Luckily for the sport of UFC, they claim to be pretty outspoken for like freedom of speech. For the most part, you can just kind of say whatever you want at the press conferences. Sometimes the executives, like at Paramount or because that's where they are now, will want to cut the mics. But the other thing that's beneficial most of the time, like we've been talking about politics and business, can be like suicide for that if you're trying to work on a deal. The
Right.
good thing about UFC is you kind of don't lose because one, you say something crazy and people really like you. And because they like you, they're going to tune in, watch the fights to help the company get paid, get you paid. Or you say something they really don't like and then they hate watch it, hoping you get knocked out badly. So you almost don't lose there.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, I can see the win-win or part of it, but uh, especially now, Paramount, uh, Paramount is in a huge amount of debt, especially when they close the deal with Netflix. And the other part of it is that they're cheap to begin with, but they're like one, where only 2 people get paid, everybody else is making $10 an hour. So a lot of these fighters are going to have to get sponsorship deals. You do not want now. This guy has 50% of his potential customers will not want to have anything to do, right? And in business, you never know where the next sales is coming from or who this next sales is going to be. Could be some guy with a Confederate flag belt buckle that he wears around all the time, right? You never know. You never know. He just cut off 50% of everybody. And then Dana White's going to have to think twice where he's going to have him. He's going to have to not, again, he limited him. He can only now fight in the South, right? We don't want to, he's not going to fight in Minneapolis, New York City, right? Because none of those places can this guy fight without costing more money and security, right? It's not even good for him because he's not going to sell a lot of T-shirts in those places. So he just cut his market in half for no reason. And then again, know your surroundings. You're around Joe Rogan. You're around. He was drunk the night before I heard. So you go, hey Joe, give me a joke, something funny I can say after the fight. Instead of trying to come up with material where you got one of the main comedians, main podcasters in the world. at your disposal right in front of you, and he'll give you a joke. He'll tell you what to say without cutting your money in half. All right, never leave money on the table. Right, so man, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Freedom 250. All right, so let's get to this week. What have you done for me lately? We know that James is very, very, very consistent. So, what's the first fight we're going to look at?
Yeah, so this week, and I'm just going to kind of go through. I really haven't poured any research that I usually do into it just because I've been pretty locked in with World Cup and
No,
everything
World
going
Cup, man.
on.
It only comes up once every 4 years, maybe ever around here, right? So, yeah, huge.
Exactly, exactly. And so fights are already on. I've got them on in the background here. We
Nice,
did just miss out on an underdog that we just hit for plus 330 for Gaston
nice.
Bolaños.
Woo.
But moving forward to ones that haven't happened yet, we've currently got Ellen Nascimento versus Mitch Raposo's going on right now. This one is already live, and the line is too far for us. If we go to the next fight, we look at Melissa Mullins versus Bia Mesquita. We could go ahead and take Melissa Mullins is not going to win this fight at all. But with her money line at, but with excuse me, with Mesquita's money line at minus 750, we really can't do anything with that. But we can go ahead and pick her to win by submission at minus 110.
Minus 110 by submission. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Brazilian flags here. This is going to be, except for the co-main event and main event, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu night.
It could be. I'll have to take a look to see who co-main is. Because I know the main event is going to be Horiguchi versus Manel Kape.
Right, so there's a lot of lightweights. It's going to be the opposite of what we saw last week, where you had two
Yeah,
heavyweight fights. So there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of fast-moving people, and a lot of different. It seems to me, if I'm looking at it right, where the lighter weights are more skill, there's more things going on with them than the bigger guys who are just trying to knock somebody out, and that's minute really fast.
100%. They call that lighter man skill. So generally, if there's someone moving up from especially lightweight and lightweights are two of the two most technical classes. So lightweights moving up to welterweights generally do pretty good. They have a good enough frame to actually be like a natural welterweight, just because they'll be a lot more technical than the welterweights that are already there.
Big time, good stuff. What's the next fight we're going to look at, James?
Yeah, up next we've got Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas, and I actually like Andre Lima a lot. He's a little inconsistent at times, but I think he has what it takes to get this one done over Kevin Borjas. And we're just going to go ahead and take him to win by knockout or submission at plus 100.
Knockout or submission plus 100. You know what you're talking about when you can consistently win plus money, right? You can't make money just picking favorites all the time. You have to know who, what, when, and where, and why to pick underdogs. And that's one of the reasons James compounds your money every because he knows how to do that. So next fight we're going to look at, James.
Next, we've got Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. This one will be pretty exciting just because Andre Fili is both these guys are a little inconsistent. Andre Fili, I like him a lot. He seems to lose ones that he should win and win ones that he should lose. I'm excited to see how this plays out. And Oliveira was looking really great on his come up, but his last fight, he just looked abysmal, got fraud checked pretty badly. He's still a heavy favorite here. I think he's going to get this one done by knockout or submission at plus 110, most likely knockout. But I'm having a weird gut feeling to go for the submission at plus 800, so a small side bet on that.
Yeah, love it. Small side bets, and you can get a lower percentage of wins because James is so consistent and still make profits. That's the whole point. To consistently, right, make profit. James has done and continues to do. What's the next fight we're going to look at, James?
Yeah, up next, we're going to take a look at Emil versus Christian Rodriguez. And Christian Rodriguez is really good. He's another one that seems to lose when he should win and win when he should lose. His opponent, Hyder Emil, was really good. He was on a super dominant tear. He has lost two in a row of his most recent two. So his stock has dropped, which is actually causing him to be the underdog here. And so I think that's a pretty good point for the underdog. So we're going to go ahead and take Hyder Emil money line at plus 180.
Plus 180. And it's pattern recognition. And we'll get into. I'll add that one to the list of tools we use. And Jason's watching many fights. He knows which tool to use when, right? Guys that always lose when they should win. As favorite, you pick the underdog. That's what you're thinking, right? And then vice versa, right? It is intentionally to other sports as well, which we are doing well with. What's the next fight we're going to look at, James?
Yeah. Next brings us to co-main event. So I'll go ahead and just set the stage for this one. We've
Nice.
got Ion Cutelaba versus Navajo Sterling. And these two guys, it's going to be like a yin and yang type fight, whereas Navajo Sterling came onto the scene as like a top level guy. Everyone was really afraid of him. And it seems like he's been just having kind of not as good performances as he's going on. Kutilaba is kind of someone who was good and was seemingly washed. No one really believed in or is starting to believing in him. But he's really turned it around and had some good performances. That one will be really exciting, and I'll save the pick for the Substack.
It's a subset subscribers. Uh, things happen when they happen. And this is a good time for everything to be extremely detailed. So every little nugget you can think of a podcast and information, we are going to be fortunate, lucky, and good to share it with you. And as we're going through the concepts. So one or two of the concepts we use is strategy, transparency, information flow, exploitation, market inefficiencies, return to the mean, arbitrage, common sense, collaboration, law of opposites. All right. And I had this one that James just added. Pattern recognition to get ahead of the pattern. Monetize the trend. Really, it's an Elon Musk thing. Elon Musk says that once you can anticipate outcomes, you anticipate those outcomes, and you monetize those outcomes, right? And who is Elon Musk? First trillionaire. Do I care about his politics stuff? But from a business standpoint, right? Get ahead of outcomes and monetize it. That's what pattern recognition does at this point in time. And we're going to have everything on the Substack. Then the Pantheon, we're going to have, if you want, access, even after the fact, to James's notes. We're going to have it there on the Pantheon, right? For people to get insight that we're sharing. Then what happens is people share insight with us, and we move forward in the same way Dana White moves forward with the Emmanuel effect, right? We're talking about two icons from the left and from the right. Dana White, friends with Orange Man from the right. And then his business partner is Emmanuel, who was the chief of staff for Obama. So the left and right collaborating together, sharing information to make money. That's what we're doing. Set the stage for the main event.
Yeah, main event. This one is going to be really exciting. We've got Manel Kopp versus Yoji Horiguchi. And this one's crazy because looking at the stats just briefly on this one,
Yeah.
always keep forgetting that Horiguchi is only 35, which is starting to get up there. Not too bad for the lower weight classes. I thought he was going to be like 38, early 40s, just because he's been around for so long. He has so much experience. He has an incredible record, 36-5. He's just been around so long. I think it was a little disrespectful to put him as the underdog here. And that being said, Manel Kape has also just been floating around the top of the division. And after his last fight against Brandon Royval, which Joshua Van, current champ, really went to war with to beat Royval, Manel Kape knocked him out so quickly in that first round. Like the power he has is just insane. It makes me a little scared for Horiguchi. This one really could go either way, just because this one's going to be Horiguchi. Obviously, has the technique on his side. He's one of the most skilled. He's been in there with like Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, so he definitely has the technical ability. Pop has some serious speed and power that Horiguchi definitely needs to watch out for because he could end up getting clipped from that.
But love it. So we'll have this picks for the Substack subscribers, folks who are paying us money. Right? They get their good information, but those who are broadcast bitches, we got two things for you that we'll get it. So for your broadcast bitches out there, use your mind, right, to figure out which pick was James signaling you to take, right? And then uh, what we did at the beginning, we check our thinking because that's where you make money as well. We use the Dunning-Kruger effect, so you avoid the illusion of superiority, right? Optimism bias. We'll put that in there, right? Because if you think you're getting all your bets right, you think you know everything, you have a delusional disorder, what they call it, grandiosity, right? Legend in your own mind. So we got to avoid that to maintain relationships. So, what is with the fights remaining? We'll get it. A lot of people got it. People listening to the podcast will get alerts. Got it. People will listen to it after the fact are getting the wisdom of what we learned from Freedom 250. So we got everybody, all the bases covered. What is the degenerate 500-pound guy who doesn't even want to get a Zepic gooning in his mother's basement parlay of the remaining fights? James, before we close.
Go ahead and get that pulled up here for us.
Now, these picks aren't legitimate, but they are for fun. And people always want to parlay, which is not good business. Because in business, what you do is you eliminate variables and covariables to ensure the result. The parlays have too many variables in order to be a business decision. But we do have fun with it. What's your degenerate, gooning, 500-pound mother's basement pick?
Yep. So we've got two right here. I'll say this one's already begun, so you won't be able to tail this one fully. For the first leg, we had Levin Kelly to win by knockout, minus 185. Andre Lima to win by submission, plus 350. And Horiguchi to win by decision, plus 275. That first leg is already happened and already has hit. So we just have two more on that one if you want to follow those last two. And then for the next one, this one hasn't started yet, so this one's still ready to be tailed. We've got Bia Misquita to win by knockout, 450. Andre Feely to win by knockout, 800. And Navajo Sterling to win by finish, minus 105. And that comes to a total of plus 95.64.
Love it. Love it. And I'll post that right away. I'll see some media places for people doing live bets, needing insight and coming to us for it. But, Social Security is going to be bankrupt. So you're going to have to buy your own long-term care. And basically, everybody has to at least strive to be independently wealthy. So if that's your purpose, right, which drives your action, if you take every single one of James's picks individually, single weighted, and not parlay, right? If we take our picks on, we get to the NFL, college football, college basketball, take them individually. Your money will be saved. Thank you for listening to the SBC podcast. Stop to YouTube.